You wouldn't wait for your house to burn down before you bought a fire extinguisher. Why are we waiting until our fish get sick to buy medicines? This is something we should have around all our fish tanks and in our fish rooms at all times. Today we're going to talk about cross-contamination. What is it? Basically, it's a bacterial infection that can turn into a fungal infection. Now, it can happen in your tanks naturally from overfeeding, not changing water, or from an outside source coming into your room. That's the biggest problem for us discus keepers, is outside contamination coming into our room, because I have quarantined for 90 days and still got cross-contamination. So I said there's got to be a better way. Now, I've tried all the meds, everything off the shelf. I've tried it all with limited success. So I was desperate in a video that I showed you, and it happened about 9 or 10 months ago. I was so desperate to save these fish that I tried a couple things. Now, I did not put it on camera because I knew in my head that it was going to be a long journey to figure out if this works or not. Because if it worked on one tank, that's not something that I can tell you guys about, because that's not a proven strategy. It's not a system yet. We have to come up with systems. So since that video 9 to 10 months ago, I've had 7 different situations, mostly from bringing outside fish into my room. I still recommend quarantining, but 90 days is just not realistic. It's not realistic for most people, but it really isn't realistic for me either. I can't tie up a tank for 90 days and then I pull that fish out because I think the time is elapsed where it's going to be okay as far as an outside bacterial infection in my room, and it still happens. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to come up with something. I tested a bunch of different scenarios. The one that I used that day was pretty effective, but I thought I can do this better. So I upped some dosages. I've mixed some things. So I've come up with the emergency cross-contamination kit. Can I say it's 100%? No, that would be irresponsible because we haven't done enough testing, and that's where you guys are going to come in, because I need your help as far as testing this product. I have 7 success stories with it, so I'm pretty confident, but I can't say 100% that it's going to work. This tank right here is my future breeders. So there's about 3 different sources in this tank, and I put them all in the pool and just went for it. And I said, you know what, either this is going to work or it's not. Well, it worked. Not even that, but my small discus fry, I wasn't doing my water changes as regular as I should, so they came down with a bacterial infection. And that was on my last video. I had footage of it, and I'll put footage up of it then and now. But it worked on that. I did lose 6 fish out of about 100. But that's a win when you're dealing with these small fish, because usually when it happens in a tank like this and these small fish, it's a total loss. And I almost figured it as a total loss. So I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to put everything I got into it. Within 3 days, they were healed. The first day they did not eat. The second day they started eating. It was about 12 or 14 fish that still you could see had that bacterial infection, because one thing with the discus is when they get that, they start to turn dark. It's the first thing that happens. And you know, some of them swim funny and they kind of lay down in the corner, and it's like they almost want to be just left alone. So when I see that, I know that there's something going on, because they should be at the front of the glass. They should be up here looking at me. They should be out here, right here. So these guys just got put in the tank 2 days ago, so they're a little skittish. Plus I'm waving my hands around, so they're not going to be, you know, 100% calmed down yet, where these guys have been in here a couple weeks. And then there's a tank right here with another breeder in there, and I'll show you that. But, so let's go into it a little bit. What is it that I've created? Well, first of all, erythromycin is for positive gram bacteria, which is pretty awesome. Now the negative gram, it does treat some, but that's where the salt comes in, okay? So I've come up with this mixture, and yes, it all goes in the tank at the same time, and it's a certain formula that I've come up with over time and tested. It works really, really well. And my breakthrough was the fry tank with the bacterial infection, because I know just from experience for doing this for so long, when that happens in a tank, especially a 40-gallon with 100 discus in it, chances are you're not going to come out of that with any fish. And losing 6 fish was brutal, but I'm going to take that as a win. And those fish sacrificed for the greater good, hopefully, of this hobby. It's really a problem in this hobby because there's really no scientists working on these problems, because it's not profitable. There's no profits for these big corporations to put in hard work. And most of them, to tell you the truth, don't keep aquariums. It's about profit loss. That's what the aquarium trade's about, but also the pet trade. If you think about pet food, like dog food, dry dog food, it's meant to last on a shelf for years. And it probably lasts for 50 years if you left it on a shelf and still not have bacteria issues. That's how dead that food is. So this is what we're feeding our animals. And it's no different with the aquarium trade, because they're not worried about our fish getting healthy. Because if you think about it, if they can keep our fish healthy, they're not making money, right? Now, I've started a business, and yes, I do make money, because the only reason I can keep going personally in this room and do these projects is if I make money. If I don't, there's no reason. I would just do it for myself, turn off the camera, and just figure it out and make it work, okay? But YouTube allows me to have a platform where I can talk about this stuff and hopefully help other people. And this is huge. Now, people around the world can't get erythromycin, so this is really for the United States, but they can get salt. So if someone in Europe asked me, what can I do about bacterial infections? I would say salt, 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 make sure it's good quality salt. Here's the thing with my salt. I did not design it for a medication purpose. That's not what I designed it for. I designed it to make breeding water. Now, I have some videos coming out because I've been testing breeding water too, with the fulvic acid and salt with RO water, and I did it with it, successful spawns. I did it without it, no successful spawns. So right now I'm going back into that system to make sure, and if I get successful spawns, it's something that I will be launching here in the future. But my salt was designed for trace elements for these fish in the soft water breeding, because, you know, we can dump tap water in there, but tap water is not so pure. So I'm sure there's still not great stuff in tap water. So by starting from pure zero and using the fulvic acid, now at the levels I'm using the fulvic acid for breeding, it's a little different than just our regular tanks, keeping regular tanks, okay? And the point of that is usually RO water is about neutral. We want it going in the tank at a certain pH. We want a certain conductivity in the water. That's what gives us successful discus spawns. Now, I hear people say all the time, oh, don't chase pH. pH is a goose chase. pH is not something you want to mess with. Well, let me tell you something. You better understand pH if you want to breed discus. I don't care what anybody says. You have to at least know where your starting point is. Do I check pH every day? Absolutely not. But I understand what my pH is. Now, how often do I check my pH? Usually about 3 times a year I check my pH, because I want to know if there's any swings. And what I have found is, as the seasons change, my tap water pH changes. It goes from about an 8.2 in the midwinter down to like a 7.6 to 7.8 in the summer. And it fluctuates through, and it's always in that fluctuation. So no, don't go crazy with the pH. Don't test it every day. But you need to know where you're at your starting point, especially if you're trying to breed for profit. But the salt was created for breeding discus. It was not created to treat discus for fungal and bacterial, but a benefit, it's working. So what is critical about treating cross-contamination? What is the #1 thing that we should do to make sure we're going to be successful? Is it the medications? Is it the observations? Is it time? Well, #1 is time. Time is not your friend when there's a bacterial issue. And that's why you need to have meds on hand at all times. It doesn't make sense, right? You need to have that stuff on hand. Is it an upfront cost? Yes, but you know, I have probably $1,200 in discus in here. I wait 2 days to go get medicines, I'm screwed. Because I am so far behind the 8 ball trying to save these guys. Probably not going to work. I might get lucky and save a couple of them, but my goal is to save them all. So when I work on these projects and really focus and really am working insane hours trying to figure this stuff out, I have about 100 hours in on this easily just thinking and writing and figuring and measuring, and just insane hours. So I'm constantly working on this stuff. Yes, I am obsessed. And yes, I overkill, but that's my nature, because I am curious. I don't want to know just how, I want to know why. I get criticized all the time on this channel for you are way overboard, you do too much, you don't need to do that. Well, if I don't, who's going to, right? Hopefully you. That's the point of this community, is to figure stuff out together. Yes, I do the work. Yes, I am insane. I'm crazy. You would not want to live in my brain. It's nuts because I never stop. I'm up at 4 in the morning. I go to bed at midnight every single day. 7 days a week, that's what I do. If I'm not doing something in this fish room, I'm out doing something else. I'm with my family. I'm coaching soccer. I'm watching my son play football. I'm doing something always. But when I'm in this room, I'm focused on problems. Because one thing about being in this hobby for so long is I still haven't figured it out. You know, I have a lot figured out, but I haven't got everything figured out. So that's what this channel is about. Constantly getting better and using our relationship as a community to learn from you, and hopefully you will give me advice, because I get great advice from you guys. You guys give me some insane stuff where it just makes me start thinking, oh, maybe I'm thinking wrong, or maybe this isn't the right approach, or maybe this isn't the angle I should take. So I appreciate it when you guys challenge me. I really do. I never get frustrated. I never get angry. You know, I get some a-holes that comment, and I've been called everything everything you can think of, I've been called. But you know what? What I've learned is that's an issue about them. That's not an issue about me, because I really don't care if you call me a name, because you probably would never do that to my face, okay? So that doesn't bother me anymore. It did bother me at first, I have to admit, because I'm like, what did I do wrong, or what, you know, and I just realized that some people don't like me, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Time is the big one. The more time they sit in a bacterial issue, and one fish gets it, it starts to spread. And once that starts to spread, and it spreads quick, guys, fast. So have these meds on hand. Now, you might think, oh, this guy's trying to sell me something. Yes, I am. I'm trying to sell you on keeping your fish healthy. Is it a monetary gain for me? Yes, but I'm telling you the truth. When I'm shipping a pound of salt, I'm not making very much money. I'd have to charge probably, with this medication, I would have to charge about $70 to $80 to make good money. So the medications are more for the hobby. Do I make a little bit of money? A little bit, but let me tell you something. I would not be profitable as a business if I just sold medications, because it would last probably 6 months and I'd be out of business. And right now medications are going up a little bit because of this whole China thing, but I ain't going to go into that. Everything's kind of gone up, but only like 1 or 2%, so we're good. We're not changing anything yet. We're going to just wait and see what happens. But I'm not going to get on politics on this channel, because I deal with politics all day long, and sports and work and stuff like that. So that's not what this channel is about. Alright, so the problem is waiting, right? Not being prepared. I tell you guys all the time, systems. Stress comes down in life, but especially in a fish room, your stress levels come way down with preparation. Being prepared, I don't care in the fish room or in life, it's the secret to not being stressed, right? Yeah, we get stressed anyways, but those stress levels come down. Like when I'm at work, I'm prepared because I have systems. I know right where everything is. I'm not guessing. I'm going with the same system because it works. It's proven over and over and over again. So that's what we do in the fish room. And that's what this is all about. So waiting. Waiting is your #1 enemy in treating bacterial infections. So what makes this kit so unique? What makes it different? Well, for one, I put the time in, and really it's proven for me that it's effective. Now, why wouldn't I just give out dosages to you guys? Because here's the thing. If you're using a low-grade medications like Pro, that's 95% glycol. If you guys, you know, I got a lot of crap about my praziquantel. Like, wow, that's expensive. Well, my Prazi's 99.9. Pro is less than 5% Prazi. No wonder why we're having resistance. No wonder why we're struggling as hobbyists. That is a problem in this hobby. 5% praziquantel for 1,250 gallons at $50? Well, it's not. So I pulled that off my website as an individual product, but you can still get it with the med kit. And the med kit's awesome. It's a good starter kit to really teach you how to medicate fish. So one thing on my website with the salt and the magnesium sulfate, which treats bloat and the erythromycin, those are going to come together now. So I'm not going to be selling them separately. And why is that? Because I have employees now, and having them pack all these individual products is getting insane because I'm paying them money to figure it out, and they're touching too many products where if they can create one product, it makes it more profitable for me, but also more affordable for you. So it's a win-win by combining products. Also, shelf space. I don't have a lot of room here. I got one office and I got one fish room, and that's it. And I have to make all these products fit. Yes, one day we will have a warehouse. Yes, one day we will have a custom fish room. Yes, we will have all that one day. We will have employees. We will take care of all that. But right now, we are at the beginning stages. We're about 9 months in on this business and doing very well. Consider becoming a supporter on the website. $10, you can become a supporter, and that is huge, right? And these are our supporters right here. It makes a huge difference because that money doesn't go in my pocket. It doesn't go to profit. It goes to this kind of project. When I can have money to go do stuff and figure, okay, I'm making, I'm not making my $250 an hour or $300 an hour. I'm making $10 an hour. That's better than not making money at all. So that allows me to really focus on new projects. And we got a ton coming down the line. So be ready. And if you want to know more, consider subscribing, which I do not ask for often. Okay, so what's in the kit? First, we have erythromycin. I've made it at a 350-gallon capacity, so it'll treat up to 350 gallons, and when you get it, you will get full instructions on how to treat. So it's a step-down process over 3 days, so you're not using a lot of meds. We're trying to be as efficient as possible. But I find by adding the new meds at a small level, it makes it more effective. Now, the erythromycin is supposed to be good for 3 to 4 days, and the salt's good until you take it out. So it's a great system to kind of be more efficient with the medicines, where we don't have to just keep dumping because I don't know if you've been there, but I've been there where I just keep dumping medicines into a tank because I'm frustrated because it's not working. What's going on? And what I'm learning is all this crap they're selling at these fish stores as far as PetSmart, Petco, and where all these fancy labeled stuff, they just don't have enough medicine. They're not really figuring out the dosages right. So that's one thing that I really work on, is I want a dosage, and I work with gram scales, I work with microgram scales, because I want to know exactly what this spoonful is. How much is it the correct dosage? Metronidazole is something that I'm double dosing. So when you get metronidazole from me, and there will be a new metronidazole coming out as far as the amount where the price is going to come down, you're going to get more for your money. I think it's going to be going out of the hobby soon because I just don't think it's as effective as it used to be. I think it's been overused and it's just been underdosed. And so when that happens, parasites and flukes, and they gain resistance to the chemical. Now, Prozi at my level is pretty effective. All these guys have been treated with my Prozi, and literally I can get rid of flukes in 2 or 3 treatments. I go to 3 over 21 days because that's about the life cycle of a fluke. So, but we'll go into that later. That's another video, and I'm going to go into my rants about Prozi Pro and Aquarium Solutions and how much they piss me off because of the money I've spent with their company, and then coming to find out they're freaking scamming me, and I can't stand it. Do not extend salt in your tank. Do not put salt in your tank every day. Now, with those breeders, I microdose. It's like literally for every 40 gallons, it's like a little more than a pinch. So it's just enough for them to get their trace elements they need to stay healthy in breeding water. It also comes with the magnesium sulfate for bloat. Now, that's a separate treatment. That is not included as far as when we treat for bacterial. That's for an issue when a fish is overeating or floating or turned on side, so that's a different issue. But I combined it in because it's the same theory. You wait a day to treat that bloated fish, fish is not going to be healthy. And then also what happens is after a fish evacuates with the magnesium sulfate, the erythromycin can be put in that fish to help because what happens is the food gets stuck, and then it causes internal bacterial issues. So the erythromycin handles that, and you can also treat with salt. So that all comes with the kit too. But also I give you my water conditioner and fulvic acid. So Even if you don't use fulvic acid in your tanks all the time like I do, you want to use it during the treatment, because what it does is it opens the cell at the micro level and it makes the fish able to absorb more medicines easily. So it makes the medicine more efficient. All that comes with the kit. Now I know I'm kind of going on a rant, but I got a lot to say about this because it's been a year of buildup and I've been wanting to talk about it, but it's just something that I haven't been able to because I haven't had all the ducks in a row. So I didn't want to say something and then go back on it. Now, it might change in the future if you guys learn something and get to me and we figure something out, then yeah, it might change.